Hi, welcome to Cavalier Corner. My name is Mark Heffernan. I'm joined this morning by Coach Cassie Cadera and Coach. I'm joined by Cassie. Past weekend, we faced two nationally ranked teams in Ferris State and Grand Valley, and losses are losses. But the question I want to ask you to get things started is: can anything be gained? Is anything learned in defeat?
Absolutely, especially against two nationally ranked teams, like you said, both Ferris and Grand Valley, very, very good teams. And yes, an L does not look the greatest and does not feel the greatest. However, scoring as many points as we did against these two teams definitely brought a new level of confidence to, the girls. I don't think they expected to be as successful as we were against those two teams. Granted, the L is still the L. However, I think that the fight, especially in the third set of each match, shows that we didn't just die after being down 2-0. And we still, when we push back against good teams like that, anything is possible. Scoring 23 points against the number 2 team in the nation definitely showed us something I think that we've never seen before.
Now, on Saturday, that third game was the same. Your third game was your strongest game.
Yep.
So, again, and I always preface this when I talk to coaches that I don't know anything about volleyball. Or I always say, now listen, I don't know your sport, and then I ask these questions. So, to see a team down and to see a team fight, from a fan's perspective, I certainly would have loved to see us win.
Right.
But yet I can get up and walk away thinking, there is some fight in this group, and they're not willing to go down easy. So although I'm sure the team's disappointed and you're disappointed, you can walk away with a more positive vibe than you would have had otherwise.
Yes, and knowing how successful we can be playing that level of volleyball, I think it's going to now be a challenge for us to stay at that level for the remainder of the season because, we can beat anybody playing at that level. Clearly, we almost beat the number 2 team in the third set, so it says a lot.
So, okay, now my next question, because I don't know much about your sport. Your kids, your team, is made up of young women who, in, I would guess, 99% of the cases, were the star players on their high school teams. Be it your freshman class or sophomores as they move on. But they were their go-to players as high school players. I would guess because of that, they were part of pretty successful programs.
Correct.
So when losing takes place, not on a consistent level, but maybe on a more, it might come around a little more readily than it had in the past. Is that tough for an athlete who's been successful at all levels, and suddenly they run into a little adversity?
Yeah, I think it takes a little bit of a mental toll on them. They're, I don't want to say used to winning, but they're definitely comfortable being successful, like you said, in their high school teams.
Right.
But I think where the switch comes is when they realize now going up against tougher competition, they're playing against other top successful high school players.
Sure.
And from all areas of the country, not just from their local high school or local area or conference or whatever it may be. So I think while it's tough losing on a more frequent basis than they did in high school, I think them realizing they're playing at a much higher level now, and the game in college is so much different than it is in high school, that once they realize that, it's easier to adjust to that. They're never going to be comfortable or used to losing by any means. But I think also that them coming from such a competitive and successful high school, it'll help them, in the college game to where they compete at a different level. And once they start competing at that high level, I think the winning will eventually come.
So besides it being a higher level, the playing field is maybe a little more
even
even and straight across, right?
Right, because they're not playing top players in the high school teams in high school competition, but now in college they're playing top.
Well, and in high school there's always, sorry to say this, but there's always a week or two where you're playing somebody that you're totally better than. You're going to dominate, and you're going to be out of there in 45 minutes.
Right, where now there's really no breathing room. It's top competition every weekend. You don't really have a slack off weekend where you go in saying, okay, I 100% know we're going to beat this team.
Right.
You don't have that.
Well, before we get to the weekend, this coming Tuesday, we take on crosstown rival Malone. And in every sport, when it comes to Walsh versus Malone, all bets are off. It's time to just go 100% and do what you can to win. And we do something here on campus called the Jersey Roar. And that's where we invite all of our teams to put on their colors, their warm-ups, their jerseys, whatever it might be, come to that team's event and do what they can to help Walsh become that home court advantage, that vibe in the gym that just is just awesome and can overtake any team and carry us to victory. Plus, I have to admit and have to say, we're still looking to give away our first cheeseburgers in our McDonald's when the Cavs win, you win promotion. Football has to win at home, and they haven't yet. Volleyball has to win at home, and they haven't yet. So if you win, when you win Tuesday night, everybody in attendance will receive a free quarter pounder with cheese at our neighborhood McDonald's. So if you're watching this, come to the ball game on Tuesday night, and we begin at 7. Doors open at 6, and we're all going to walk out of there and head over to McDonald's for a free quarter pounder with cheese. How about that plug for our neighborhood restaurant? Coach,
Yes.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
We'll do this again.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time in the Cavalier Corner.